core tyre temperature, the whole tyre, the carcass as well as the surface of the tyre, needs to get up to temperature. One way you can do it is to move around and try and get energy into that tyre, but the reality is it's not going to make a huge difference with a relatively low ambient temperature compared to that we enjoyed on Saturday for qualifying.
Now they've got to get themselves into formation here through the last couple of corners and hope to hold that formation as they come on to start finish straight. Alexander Premat dictates the pace and he goes hard on it straight away. They're up to full race speed. Look at Italy on the attack for third. France has the lead into turn one. Second place for Switzerland. South Africa's third. Italy in fourth. And watch out for any incidents behind the Netherlands. Under attack from Ireland, very tight into turn two.
Well, that was a very clean start compared to the usual we've seen here, but now we come into these very tight right-left chicanes. This is into turns 4 and 5, so decidable. That's Portugal, yes, across the grass, the first one we've seen.
Yeah, he got squeezed out wide. France under attack from Switzerland there, and South Africa took advantage but couldn't. Now Italy into third.
There was no chance Stephen Simpson had of getting that move away. He lost the position very simply and easily to Italy. Now that's just trying to make up for too much of what was lost due to the technical infringement.
Verstappen's still in there. Malaysia's made good progress. Alex Young's gained a couple of places. Japan's made amazing progress. Somebody going slowly. Is that still Portugal?
That's Portugal, yes.
So one or two drivers have made a massive amount of progress. We're on board here though with Brazil, Christian Fittipaldi.
So this is down into turn 8. This is the corner that leads onto the sweeper. This is turn 9. This is just about flat out. Just look at that, Italy trying to make a move on. Switzerland coming up into turn 10. Easy to overdrive coming into turn 10.
Italy seems to have used all its power boost already. I don't quite know how they've managed that. They have 4.
Ooh, a big shot. There's green bodywork there as well.
Mexico.
Yes, now we don't know what car that is. There's a lot of green bodywork in conjunction. Is that all just Salvador Duran, or is that going to see it? Well, safety car has been deployed, so already a problem. The field will be brought under the safety car as Salvador Duran, and we're not sure if that was a second car or not involved in an incident around the circuit.
What a disappointment for local hero Salvador Duran. He's out on the first lap of the sprint race. The safety car comes out. Now remember, there's no pit stops in the sprint race. You won't see them diving into the pits unless they have a mechanical problem.
Well, we see that. I wonder, has somebody run into the back of somebody? It looks like the nose of part of another car, and that's come into contact with the Mexican entry. We haven't seen any other than there it is. There it is, Ireland, I believe.
Yes, it is the Irish
suspension damage, bodywork damage. Look, left front wheel pointing sharply to the right.
Yeah, it is Ralph Furman's car that is off at the side of the track.
And that's coming up, I believe, up into turn 10. The part of racetrack, and that's a lot of damage to that car.
And of course, they're going to be tough to get these cars repaired for the feature race later on, so it's a horrible start to the day for both Mexico and Team Ireland.
But they've also got to get these two cars removed to safety before this race can once again get underway, have the safety car return to pit lane. So there's a lot of work. It's a short lap. The cars are going to come around fairly regularly. There's the first of the trucks that will tow away. Certainly Team Mexico's car can get taken away quite safely. That's into turn 5 that all that incident occurred with Team Mexico and Team Ireland.
So let's just tell you how that first lap went. France came round in the lead in the end from Switzerland and Italy. South Africa lost a place down to 4th. USA maintained their 5th place. Czech Republic in 6th. Then the Netherlands 7th. Malaysia 8th. They gained a couple of spots. Germany up into 9th place. They also made progress. Brazil 10th. New Zealand 11th. So they gained a couple of places. Japan 12th. Now that's a good start for Japan because they started 17th on the grid. Canada is 13th. Lebanon 14th. Austria 15th. Great Britain didn't get away particularly well. Robbie Kerr currently 16th ahead of Ananda Mikkola for Indonesia 17th. China's running 18th ahead of both Australia and of course Portugal, who went across the grass.
And I suspect that the reason why people are slightly out of position is because of the incident involving Mexico. They started 14th, Ireland started 8th. How 14 and 8 get together on a racetrack is hard to judge, but that's what happens on a street track where you've got a very slippery surface. You've got cars with tyres that are low in temperature. As Alvaro Parent for Portugal, we saw him go off track in turns 4 and 5. So that car jacked up, not going to take part any further, we would imagine. Though it is important that he should think about if they can get that car straightened out quickly enough to get back. Here's an incident. This is the restart.
Yeah, this is when they started originally, and it was a fairly clean start up front, wasn't it? Italy had a little look at getting past South Africa, but behind there was a bit of action going on. I know that Ireland certainly were attacking the Netherlands.
Well, Ireland were side by side coming through turn 1 with Jos Verstappen, and we don't know where quite Mexico was in that mix, but this is the inevitability of racing on a street track, a track that's got a relatively low level of grip. There's Mexico, but 4 or 5 cars behind Ireland as they came out of turn 2.
Yeah, that's odd, isn't it? It makes you wonder what happened at the next sequence. Now, this was at the chicane. Oh, France made a mistake at that chicane. Look how sideways they got. And that allowed Neil Yarney to close right up.
And, of course, we also saw the move that comes just after this, where Stephen Simpson, third car for South Africa, tried to do a move down the inside. There on the inside 2 cars, that is Ireland, but Mexico, well, much further back.
Yeah, they were further back, so it's still difficult to see exactly what happened between Mexico and Ireland for them to come together and do quite as much damage as has been done. Bits of bodywork over the track and bent suspension parts. So tricky one that, but France have emerged in front with Switzerland behind as Portugal go to work, as you say, trying to get this car repaired so that they can get him out in this race and at least claim back a couple of spots on the grid for the feature race.
Yes, Duran's car appears to be much less damaged of the 2 cars, much worse. You can see there, Ireland. I just wondered, did one car lose it and just involve another incident, or were these 2 cars, did they get together somehow? Clearly Ireland's going to have the much bigger task to get their car ready for the feature race, and of course they'll want to get these 2 cars back to the garages as quickly as possible, let Mexico work on their car, but primarily Ireland are going to have to do a lot more work with suspension damage, and well, that's just the tail end of it. We don't quite really see what caused all that.
Ireland, certainly, I think Ireland must have made some pretty big contact, because I think it looks like they've gone from one side of the road to the other pretty much.
Certainly very big contact in the bodywork that was on that, but it's the left front wheel is
look in the background, under safety car, we've
Japan.
got a car rolling over on the main straight.
In fact, that's there we are, just right below us. That car has gone. This is what happens in these. Well, look at the bodywork. You can see the car upside down, and all of a sudden panic here on pit lane in Monterey. Why or how that occurred? Hayanari, is it?
It's Hayanari Shimoda.
Yes, it is. It is Team
It's the
Japan.
second time he's been upside down. John, remember the accident he had in Australia?
We certainly do. That was the most enormous accident. But how that car got in that context, again, you're running in a line of cars, you're running relatively slowly. What happens? Drivers tend to accelerate and brake and accelerate and brake. That's to try and maintain tire temperature. And that probably was one of those circumstances where maybe Japan was accelerating at the same time the car he was directly ahead of, started to brake, so the 2 come together.
Well, drama indeed here in the first race of the day. We've only had one racing lap. We had a safety car come out because of an incident involving Mexico and Team Ireland.
Japan
and now
was running behind Brazil, so he must have gone over the back of Christian Fittipaldi and Team Brazil.
He certainly went over the back of somebody. I suddenly saw the car rear up. The whole group came out of that final corner, and as you say, I think they must have been accelerating, braking, and the next thing, suddenly the Japanese car just shot up in the air out of the middle of the pack, rolled over, and I wonder how much damage it's done to other cars.
Well,
the World Rally Championship's back. Sebastian Loeb.
Well, this Mexican round of A1 Grand Prix has certainly started in pretty dramatic fashion. We've seen an incident that we didn't quite spot between Mexico and Team Ireland. I'm just watching, actually New Zealand's just going down the pit lane with its rear light trailing. They may well have been hit by this car of Japan. Have a look, John. This is what happened as they came out of that final corner. It all got a bit bunched up.
Well, you see there's Brazil. Yes, it must have been New Zealand, in fact. In fact, he clambered all over New Zealand. Somehow or other, he, on the previous lap on timing and scoring, should have been directly behind Brazil, but it appears that he was actually directly behind New Zealand, and it clambered all over the back from what we can see in that replay. There's the gap that appeared. Let's look at it again from a different perspective. Well, yes, it must have been New Zealand's car, but look how many times that's going over, 2.5, 3 times?
That's incredible when you think at the speeds that they were doing. They're doing 80 miles, no, not even that, 60 miles an hour down there?
Less, I would say, maybe 40. But of course, once the momentum goes, if you are the car in the case of Japan, and we suspect that he may have been on full throttle for a brief period in time, he could go from 40 mile an hour to 60 or 70 miles an hour in the blink of an eye. There's the rear view shot, and still it has to be New Zealand. Incredible how much energy was in that roll, despite them being behind the safety car as they came down the straight there. And it was a huge shock to the system, not only for Hayanari Shimoda, but what must Matt Halliday have thought? I mean, the worst thing is you're driving along quite comfortably, you think a bit of a nudge and a bump, and all of a sudden you've got, 500 kilograms of racing car just inches above your head. There is Matt Halliday's Team New Zealand entry back into the garage, back into the pit lane. And is Matt Halliday out of the car? I think he is.
Yeah, I think so. but it must have done a fair old bit of damage to the back end of that car. I guess they're just going to have to try and get it ready for the feature race later on. Real drama.
So out of 18 laps, we've had one full lap of racing. The remaining laps have been under safety car. We've still got the situation with France at the front, and of course we've still got two other cars around the circuit which were also in the process of being removed, so real pressure being put on the infrastructure here in Monterey to get these three, two of whom are severely damaged cars, away to safety. The third car being Team Mexico, which looked to be the lesser damaged of the three, to get those cars back to the safety of the garages and let this race get underway. Probably be another couple of laps. Here's the view again. And clambered, I mean, I think he didn't manage to hit the front. He might have just clipped the nose, but then the sequence of barrel rolls and then slides. We've talked about the surface being slippery. Well, there's an indication of how slippery it is. The car continued to slide with the momentum, the kinetic energy that's involved in any projectile when it loses control.
Well, it was astonishing, but I think they've got the car out of the way. They've done a brilliant job actually of sweeping away all the debris that was on the start-finish line, and I think we're going to see the lights going out on the safety car on this lap, so we should be able to get the race restarted. There are still 13, yep, lights are out, 13 to go. Well, there'll be 12 laps to go, of course, when they cross the line. Next time around, it'll be France leading from Switzerland, Italy, South Africa and the United States. Then the Czech Republic running in 6th, the Netherlands 7th, Malaysia 8th, Germany in 9th and Brazil in 10th.
Yeah, working on the Team New Zealand car, the rear wing is off. I suspect that was clipped in that incident with Japan, but now cars are coming down into turn 10, everybody weaving around again, trying to get temperature up as early as possible, and on a track surface that is as low grip as this, that will be imperative.
I reckon France is on it already. Look, he's opening it up. He's got on the power very early. He's caught Neil Yarni out a little bit. Yarni's trying to go with him. Italy in 3rd place, then South Africa. Great restart from Team France. Alexander Premat. Watch the Netherlands here. They've got a great run. Jos Verstappen is going to challenge down towards the first
He's
corner.
He's alongside, going into the corner there, side by side. No one, but the advantage will remain just. No one. Jos has gone round.
They touch. I'm sure they touch there. Verstappen still on the outside of the Czech Republic, Thomas Enger, and I think he's made the move into the chicane. Yet Verstappen's gained the place.
Yeah, that was a brave move. He took a big chance going down the inside. They gave each other working room, but now Enger, he's looking to come back. He goes alongside, but he's done the right thing. He's backed off. He's given Verstappen and the Netherlands the corner because there was no room. Watch, look behind. Malaysia's
trying to get involved. That's Alex Young. He's driven here in the past. He knows where he can take advantage, but Verstappen's the one who's gained, and Young's got to watch out because right behind him he's got the German car.
Yes, Timo Scheider is looking to see how he can take advantage of this battle just ahead of him. Two cars, Germany, look, and then Brazil behind. Robbie Kerr for Team GBR.
Canada well up there in 11th place. They gained quite a lot on that opening lap. Look at South Africa there, was being passed by USA, I believe. Did he make a mistake? South Africa, Steven Simpson, I think has lost a place to Brian Herter. He's in trouble, South Africa. The car's going slowly. He's lost another place, both to the Netherlands. Czech Republic goes through as well.
Yeah, he's got a problem. Something went wrong on that lap, and he's just fallen back almost corner by corner, car by car, so he'll probably just go straight into the pit lane. We don't know what the flare is. South Africa are also in.
Great Britain was also trying to make a move on Lebanon then as they came through that last little sequence. We'll try and see if they've done that as they come across the line. France, Switzerland, Italy, USA now 4th, then the Netherlands, Czech Republic further down the list, Germany, Brazil, then Canada, then Great Britain has got past Lebanon.
We don't know what this is. Team South Africa come down the pit lane. Clearly it all went wrong. I wonder, in that opening lap when he made a very audacious move down into turn 5, did he do something to the car? Because clearly on the restart he was not able to run at the pace he had done on the first flying lap. And what disappointment for South Africa.
Canada, Patrick Carpentier up against an old rival from Champ Car days, Christian Fittipaldi in the Brazilian car. Had to think about it, but then decided to tuck back in.
Interestingly, Team Ireland's car is still in fact at the side of the racetrack, up tight against the barrier. That car will, I doubt, be available for Team Ireland to run in the feature race.
It's going to be tough for them, isn't it? They won't get it back until much later. Look at the battles going on here. Look, it's Verstappen who's really going quickly at this stage. He's now putting the pressure on Team USA. Power boost operating on the Netherlands car. The little button flashing red in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Another 30 horsepower.
Watch for a pass down the inside into turn 10. Very, very difficult to do. He's done it. Great move by Jos.
Brilliant late braking move from Jos Verstappen there. He's gained another position. He's into 4th place now. The lead still being held by Team France. Switzerland in 2nd, and they're getting a little closer if anything. Italy in 3rd, then the gap back to the Netherlands.
Well, it's just about half a second. He shaved a couple of tenths on that last lap. So Neil Yarni in his last weekend of A1GP. He wants to go out with success. He also wants to keep the battle for this championship alive. Whoever succeeds him in Monterey, in California, and then in China, to give them the best opportunity.
We're riding on board Brazil with Christian Fittipaldi at the wheel, and right ahead of him he's got Timo Scheider of Germany, but right behind him he's got Patrick Carpentier of Canada, and Carpentier's been looking for a way past just at the same time that Fittipaldi's busy looking for an opportunity to get past Germany. He's found a bit of space this time, and in fact Alex Young leading that little particular group in the yellow Malaysian car. This is a great midfield battle going on.
Well, not only are you fighting for the car that you're trying to overtake, you've always got to watch behind you. Jos Verstappen, look how much of a gap he's opened up in the space of just over half a lap over Team USA. He's pulling away. He's going to start to run down into Italy, who are currently in third place.
Current fastest lap is to Team Switzerland. They're running second at the moment, remember, so they've got a little bit more work to do. Riding on board with Germany's Timo Scheider. He's tucked in behind the Malaysian entry, driven by Alex Young, who raced here in champ cars in the past, but so far he's managing to hold his position. Great Britain currently running in 11th place. They've got Lebanon in 12th. Austria is in 13th, then Indonesia 14th, China 15th and Australia 16th. But with 9 laps to go, it's France that leads in Monterey.
Well, Jos Verstappen has proved clearly that if you're audacious and you've got the car, you can overtake here in Monterey. 2 parts of the racetrack. We saw Verstappen do it through turn 1 into turn 2 to get 1 position, then he got a 2nd position into turn 10. It all depends if you can get on the power and get the drive out of the corner. And then you've just got to get absolutely alongside the car. If you're not alongside the car, you will not make the pass.
New fastest lap to Team Netherlands. So Jos Verstappen is the fastest man on the road. That is backed up by what we've seen and the way he's accelerated away from Brian Herta driving for Team USA here. But USA, look how close the Czech car is right behind.
Well, I think Thomas Enger for the Czech Republic is going to try and mirror what he saw Jos Verstappen do just over a lap ago. It'll probably not happen into this turn. This is turn 8, which leads into the sweeper. Fastest lap to the Team Netherlands entry. Jos Verstappen, quickest man on the racetrack. Well, he's showing to be 3.5 seconds there. You can see it, just about 3.5 seconds behind Italy, who are right now in the gearbox of Switzerland.
Yes, the top 3 pulling away a little bit, although as you say, Netherlands are quick. And then we've got this other group. Look at Great Britain trying to get down the inside there. Great Britain making the move on Canada. Now, has he managed to make that move stick? No, he didn't. Patrick Carpentier just fended him off.
Yeah, it's so difficult in certain parts of this racetrack. You've got to be alongside. That camera foreshortened the real picture. We don't know whether Robbie Kerr thought it was wise or not, but he did the right thing and fell back behind Canada. He's got 8 laps to go.
Yeah, he's currently running in 11th. He's 1 position outside the points, so he wants to try and move up, but of course he's got to keep the car in one piece for the all-important feature race where pit stops come into play and where anything can happen, as we've seen in recent events.
Fastest race lap now to Italy in 3rd place, 7/10 of a second behind. In 2nd place, that's Team Switzerland.
Malaysia still fending off Germany and Brazil. We're riding with Brazil once again, watching Team Germany just ahead as he tries to line up Alex Young for a pass.
It's a difficult entry because the road goes slightly to the left before you go into this right left chicane. So he again emphasises that if you are not in position, if you cannot get alongside that car. But look at this is the battle with Thomas Enger, Czech Republic, and in 6th place Team USA in 5th.
Again, Fittipaldi closes up to the back of the German entry of Timo Scheider. Again, they've got to be aware of keeping the cars in one piece. Power boost available. Here comes Enger. He's done the move on Brian Herta. Herta couldn't do anything about it.
Twice now, Brian Herta has been overtaken into turn 10. He's driven cleanly. He's not used the opportunity to block. You're allowed to make 1 manoeuvre, but that's it. And on 2 occasions, Brian Herta has lost a position in turn 10.
For the first time this weekend, we've got a driver in the 1:21s, John. That's Jos Verstappen. He's faster than anyone went in qualifying yesterday.
The track, as you would expect, this is a street track. It is always slippery to begin the weekend. The weekend, as it goes through, the track should pick up time. We've now seen that 1:21.8 second lap, and I would not be surprised if we see before this race concludes, 7 laps to go, that may in fact be beaten again.
Still some power boost available for 1 or 2 of the drivers. It gives them an extra 30 brake horsepower. Remember, here comes Christian Fittipaldi, and behind him is Robbie Kerr. Robbie Kerr making the lunge on Team Canada. I think he may have done it this time. Where is the British car? No, he hasn't. I don't think he has.
He got ahead,
I'm
sure.
Did.
Yes,
yeah, he did. Sorry.
But I wasn't sure whether there was contact, because you saw a little bobble, a little bump, as maybe those 2 cars had side-to-side contact. Robbie Kerr made that move on a previous lap. He decided wisely not to do it. This time he got the advantage and put himself ahead of Canada.
So a place gain, and that's all important. He's up into the points now. 1 point heading the way of Great Britain. Remember, there's only a 2-point gap between Brazil and Great Britain for third place in the series.
So watch Brazil as it comes out of turn 9. The sweeper pulls out. Can he get alongside? No, he's not able to. Germany late in the brakes, and behind Brazil you've now got
Great Britain.
It is.
And of course, with only 2 points separating those two nations in the A1 series at the moment, this is a crucial battle as we get into the latter part of the season. At the moment, Brazil has the edge over Great Britain, but not much to choose between them. On board with Christian Fittipaldi. He is running in 9th place. Great Britain now in 10th. Canada in 11th. Lebanon still going very well in the hands of Graham Rahal. The 17-year-old is running in 12th. Then Austria's Patrick Friesacker behind him. Indonesia 14th, China 15th, and Australia 16th.
Well, this is just total concentration. You're caught in the middle. Brazil running behind Germany, looking to try and take that 8th place away from Germany. But Brazil under pressure from Robbie Kerr. He's already made a move. You saw him make a move at this point of lap, 1 lap ago.
Yeah, but he doesn't manage to go through there. Fittipaldi holds on to his position again. They're all being bottled up behind the yellow and white car of Team Malaysia. But Jung's driving this sensibly and cleverly. He knows that 7th place on the grid for the feature race would do very well, thank you very much, in terms of scoring more points.
Well, they're all being backed up, not intentionally, but Alex Jung is using what he's got. He hasn't got the pace to challenge USA. They are some 3 seconds ahead, but he's defending, and he's using that. Brake slightly earlier, slow the pack down, get on the throttle early, then stretch your advantage again. Look at Brazil and Team GBR. That was a battle for position. GBR wanted to try and get past Brazil into turn 10. Christian Fittipaldi said, not this time, Robbie.
Nope, so he managed to fend him off. It's given Germany a little bit more breathing space. We're back on board with Great Britain. Robbie Kerr here.
He's got to use the momentum. He's got to pick up speed off turn 12. The gap you can see there between Brazil and Great Britain, too much to give any advantage to Team GBR coming into turn 1.
So into 10th place, but determined to move up a few more places if possible and get himself as good a shot as possible in that feature race. But he doesn't want to make any silly errors or make a mistake and throw the car off the road. Now, we've only got 5 laps to go in this race. Still Team France lead from Switzerland. The gap only half a second. Italy third. There in the Netherlands in 4th. Here's Kerr on the attack. And now he's got the inside line. Here comes Great Britain trying to get past Brazil. They make contact. They almost run over each other. Oh, they hit each other. Round goes Great Britain. And Brazil continues.
I mean, it was inevitable. That was a very difficult place to pass. Robbie didn't have quite the track position that he wanted. Christian Fittipaldi said, I'm going to go around the outside of the track. Of course, Brazil's entry caught the dirt on the outside. The 2 cars bumped. They went up in the air. Eventually, Robbie Kerr went spinning around the track, and he lost not just 1 position, but 2.
So how much damage has been done to that car? That's the question. This is, because it's a low grip surface, you can almost get away with a bit of bumping and boring without too much damage done, but surely that car's not going to be 100% right. It's given Germany a big breathing space, and Canada has gained.
Canada have been the beneficiary of all that.
And Austria.
Yes, so Brazil lost out partly, but the bigger loser, of course, was Team GBR. I wonder has that done damage to the steering. You can see how much steering lock Christian Fittipaldi is having to apply going through the right-hand corner. Not quite as much for the left, so I suspect maybe that his steering and tracking watches have come onto the start finish straight.
Yeah, he's being passed by Great Britain, so Great Britain now
side by side, coming down start finish straight. Robbie Kerr marginally ahead. Fittipaldi concedes, backs off, and now lets Team GBR. He's got a problem. I reckon that left front wheel is towing in, right front. One of the 2 is towing in by a country mile.
Yeah, that car's not right, but what is happening now is it means that Canada is now 9th, Austria 10th, Brazil 11th, and Great Britain 12th as a result of all that, although they've just swapped, of course, so it's now 11th for Great Britain, 12th for Brazil.
And consternation on the face of John Surtees in the Team GBR. Christian Fittipaldi has got his wing, also his front wing is damaged. You can see it's hanging down on the left-hand side, so the contact that occurred 1 lap ago in turn 5 has resulted in problems for Brazil. The wing end plate's missing on that, and I suspect that there's damage to that left front suspension as well.
Yeah.
Look at the wheel waste. He's clearly got a massive problem. Damage probably to the steering arm, maybe to a suspension control arm.
USA still running in 6th place, Malaysia 7th, Germany right behind in 8th. Still Timo Scheid has been attacking for lap after lap, but we're running out of laps. Another look at this this move.
Well, I mean, Robbie was committed to come down the inside. Fittipaldi defended by staying in the middle of the track. They go side by side. Then there's the contact. The left front wheel, the right rear, and then look at Canada. How did they get around that, not get involved? Robbie Kerr goes a 360, but the damage was done to Brazil with the damage to the wing and to that front suspension.
So bumping and boring on the Fundidora circuit here, but what excitement we're seeing. France still leading from Switzerland in second place. Italy have dropped back a bit in the last lap or so. They're now in a little bit of danger from the Netherlands because Jos Verstappen's been catching, but of course they're running out of laps, so I'm not sure that Verstappen's actually going to have time to really put the pressure on. Yanni, though, still keeping the pressure on for the lead here from Alexander Premat.
And France is responding. Their fastest lap is just a tenth of a second off that of the fastest lap of the race, still with Team Netherlands. That's the result, the pressure. They've all got 3 extra power boost button opportunities. Italy's got none, Netherlands have got 2. Now, well, Neil Yanni can just find that little bit of extra speed, use the power boost to his advantage, but both Switzerland and France virtually mirror one another coming through turns 11 into turn 12. France take the very much slightly lighter, easier entry into the corner. Switzerland stay out a little bit longer before they make the cut in.
16 laps completed, 2 laps remain here. France heading for their 12th victory of the season, but Switzerland keeping the pressure on. Remember, the only country really that can still beat France in the A1 Grand Prix Series is Switzerland, and Neil Yanni wants to go out on a high. He's in his last meeting as an A1 driver for this year anyway, and he wants to keep the pressure on, try and grab a victory here to back up the win he had in the sprint race in Dubai at the end of last year.
Well, time running out for Jos Verstappen. He has closed and is still closing down on Italy, but with 2 laps to go. In effect, it's now 1.5 laps. The same applies to Switzerland. Neil Yanni, he looks to me to have a car which is marginally easier and quicker, but the overall lap time between France and Switzerland is pretty identical.
So we're running out of time. They're looking towards the checker flag, not this time around, but across the line. When they come across the line next time, it'll be to go on to the final lap. It's still France in control from Switzerland and Italy. Dutchman Jos Verstappen holding on to 4th, not quite close enough to attack Italy as yet. And then behind them with a bit of a gap is the Czech Republic running 5th, the USA 6th, Malaysia in 7th place, Germany 8th, Canada 9th, Team Austria in 10th place, and Great Britain just outside the points in 11th. Indonesia now have moved up to 12th, Lebanon 13th, Brazil 14th, China 15th, and the last car on track 16th place, Australia.
Last lap, last chance for 2 drivers who are trying to confirm a race win for Switzerland, and that's going to be a tall order. Alexander Premat, we know, is more than capable of defending any lead. Jos Verstappen in 4th place is not close enough to, he's 1.3 seconds behind Italy in 3rd place.
Alexander Premat just has to keep it smooth and control. He should take another victory to add to France's remarkable tally.
And Italy have responded to the pressure from Verstappen with a 1 minute 21.7, the fastest lap on the penultimate lap of this race.
Switzerland, though, running in 2nd place. They'll only lose 1 point to Team France. The gap coming into this event, 28 points. So they'll only lose 1 further point to France, and unless something goes wrong for France in the feature, or for Switzerland in the feature race, France won't be able to wrap up the title here today.
Well, that's what Neil Yanni was looking for, a small error going through turns 3 and 4, and then he's got 2 chances now, maybe just 1 chance to run up into turn 10. He is not close enough. He's got no chance to challenge for the lead, and this is really going to be France's race.
Yeah, France has done a beautiful job here. Alexander Premat judged the start to perfection. He got the lead into the first corner, had to sit behind a safety car for a number of laps in the early stages, judged the restart to perfection as well, and it's Alexander Premat, Team France, that takes victory in the sprint race here in Monterey. 2nd place goes to Switzerland, 3rd to Italy, and a fighting 4th to Team Netherlands. Jos Verstappen, the biggest climber of the front runners. Now, of 5th place, I think we're going to see Czech Republic, Thomas Enger. 6th place for Team USA, and for Team USA, that is one of their best results of the season. A good effort that for Team USA, for Brian Herter. Then it's Malaysia 7th, Germany 8th, Canada 9th, Austria 10th, Great Britain coming through in 11th place, and then I think we're going to see Indonesia next up. Ananda Mikkel has gained a bit of ground on that final lap, so he ends up in 12th, and Lebanon finish in 13th ahead of Brazil. And
it was the Netherlands on that last lap that once again claimed the title of having the fastest lap of this race on a 1 minute 21.583. And remember, it's the fastest lap over the 2 events, the feature race, which of course will follow. There we see Christian Fittipaldi still limping around with the damage to the front of his car. having that fastest lap in the sprint race may see Jos Verstappen have the benefit of an extra point if nobody beats that 1 minute 21.583 in the 36 lap feature race.
The French have taken another win. That's 12 wins in A1 Grand Prix. Another sprint race win, but remember the last two events, the feature race has not gone well for France, both for Nicolas Lapierre and for Alex Premat. Premat finished 8th in Durban, Lapierre was 8th in Saint-Toul.
But more importantly, and this is a novelty, let's say this could be France's joker, they're down one of their engineers, one of the team that are responsible for the pit stop change. So who's been drafted in to clear the wheel away from the actual engineer who's doing the wheel stop itself? It is Frenchman, French driver, race winner, Nicolas Lapierre.
Yeah, we'll see him in action helping the pit team in the feature race, which will be fun to see. Their normal guy broke a finger practicing the wheel stops yesterday, so they've drafted in Nicolas Lapierre to help with the wheel stop. We'll watch that later on. That's in the feature race to come. But the top three in the sprint race then, France, Switzerland and Italy. And let's just make a mention of Enrico Toccocello's return, John, because for Team Italy, he's been out of the car for the last couple of races. He's had a second place already in the series, but it's another fine podium finish for them.
Yes, I think having Busnelli, Max Busnelli in the car for the last two rounds, maybe in combination with Busnelli coming in, we saw Italy's fortunes improve. The car is much more competitive than it has been really throughout the entire series, and Enrico Toccocello has come in and consolidated those performances of Busnelli. A fine third place, ending up just 0.8 of a second down on race winner in third place.
So Neil Yarni just explains to the engineers and the team what the car was like. There's not a great deal of time, of course, between the two races, so it's important to impart information quickly so that they can make any necessary changes for the feature race. Enrico Toccocello, though, good effort for Team Italy here this weekend. Fast in qualifying, he qualified in 4th place on the grid, took advantage of that little mishap for South Africa to claim a place, and they've come through with a fine podium finish.
Yes, and of course, I mean, look down at the results.
So, the result of the sprint race, France ahead of Switzerland and Italy. Now behind them, the Netherlands, who claimed a good number of places there. The Czech Republic finished 5th, USA 6th ahead of Malaysia, another consistent top 10 for Malaysia. Germany in the points this time, and they've been out of the points the last few events. Canada, new driver Patrick Carpentier, he's the first of the new men, just ahead of Patrick Friesacker for Austria. Great Britain just outside the points, Indonesia 12th, then Lebanon 13th, Brazil 14th with that damaged front wing. China 15th, Australia 16th, and then those who had problems. South Africa 17th, New Zealand, whose car was leapt over by Japan, 18th, 19th for Portugal, 20th for the car that did roll over on the start-finish straight under safety car, that was Japan, 21st for Ireland and 22nd for Mexico.